Welcome back coders, my name is Aditya and let's continue with the series on Python. Till now we have talked about what is a programming language. We know about Python and we have seen that how can we install Python. Now in this video we will start with the actual programming stuff. Sounds good. So the first step for that would be to open our IDE, but we will not be using PyCharm in this tutorial. We will be using Python's IDE so that we can get our hands on it as well. Because after this tutorial we will be using PyCharm and different IDEs, but we will not be using Python IDE anymore. So let's open our Python IDE. In the previous video we have seen that we can create a new Python file by clicking on new and then new file button. And then we can run this file by pressing run and then run module button. And that's fine. But you may ask that when we open Python IDE, what does this screen means or what it is used for? So let me tell you that there are two different ways of running a Python code. One is by creating a file, writing the code in that file and then running it. And that is what we have done till now. But there is one more way, and that is by running our code line by line. When we open the Python IDE, it gives us a window where we can run our code line by line without creating any file and saving it. It is usually used for testing small pieces of codes. As soon as you will open the Python IDE, you can see a user interface like this. Here you can see this arrow kind of structure and in front of this you can write your code. So let me write the easiest Python code, and that is 1 plus 1. And believe me, it's a valid Python code and it will work. Let me show you. As soon as I will press enter, it will give me 2, which is the right answer for 1 plus 1. Means it is working. Let's try for another number. Let's say 5 plus 8. And it will give me 13, which is also the right answer for 5 plus 8. And let's try for 3 numbers. Let's say 5 plus 6 plus 7. Will it work? Yeah, of course. It will give us 18, which is the right answer for 5 plus 6 plus 7. And let's try for subtraction. Will it subtract? Let's say 8 minus 3. And it will give us 5, which is the right answer. Let's try multiplication. Let's say 6 multiplied by 5. It should give us 30, and yeah, it gives us 30. Now let's try division. Let's say 8 divided by 2. It should give us 4. And yes, it gives us 4, but it is 4.0. And what if we want just 4 and not 0.0? For that, we have a different operator, and that operator is known as float division, or you can say it integer division. And we can use this by putting double slash instead of single slash and then 2. Now when I will press enter, it will give us just 4. And it also works when we will divide 5 by 2 using this float division. When I will press enter, it will give us 2 and not 2.5. See here, when we will divide 5 by 2 using the single slash, it will give us 2.5, but when we will use double slash, it will give us 2. This float division gives us the quotient, whereas this single slash division gives us the float value. If you don't know what is a float value, in programming language, decimal values are also known as float values. So yeah, if we have these point kind of numbers, then we can refer it as float values. Let's try if we can implement BODMAS here. Let's say 3 plus 2 multiplied by 5. So what should it do? First, it should multiply 2 by 5 according to BODMAS, which is 10, and then it should add 3, which will give us 13. And yes, it gives us 13. But what if I want to add 3 and 2 first and then multiply it by 5? For that, we can use brackets also. We can say opening brackets 3 plus 2 and then closing brackets, and then we can say multiply by 5. And this will give us 25, which is 3 plus 2, which is 5, and then multiplied by 5, which is 25. Means it is working. And now what if we want to find the power of a number? Let's say I want to find 5 raised to the power 3. So what can I do is I can simply write 5 into 5 into 5, and it will give us 5 raised to the power 3. and which is right. It will give us 125, which is the right answer. But what if I want to find 5 raised to the power 12? I'm not going to write 5 12 times. So for that, we again have a operator in Python, which is known as exponent operator. For that, we can say 5 and then we have to use double multiplication signs and then we can say 12. So it will give us the result 5 raised to the power 12. When I will press enter, it will give me a big chunk of numbers, which will of course be the right answer. And you see, when I will write any number and just press enter without adding any operators, it will give us 5 or the number which we have entered. Let's say if I have entered 8 and then I have pressed enter, then it will give me that 8 back. Let's say if I have said 8 plus and I forgot to write another number, what will happen then? Let's try. It will give us an error. So means we will have to follow the grammar of Python, as we have told already. A programming language is a set of rules which is used to write a code that can be converted to the machine code by a compiler and by a Python compiler or interpreter here. So till now we have worked with integers and we say numbers and these float values, integers and these float values. Now here if I write 5, it will give me 5 back, and if I will write 8, it will give me 8 back. But what if I write some characters or some words? Will it give me the words back also? Let's try. Let's say YouTube. So what do you think? Will it give me YouTube back? Let's try. When I will press enter, it gives me an error. So let me tell you that why this error occurs. In programming language, you cannot just pass this raw characters or a word. You have to enclose these characters in single quote or double quote. So if I want YouTube back, I have to give YouTube enclosed in single quotes or double quotes. So let's try with single quotes. Let's say single quotes YouTube and then single quote closed. Then when I will press enter, it will give me YouTube back, which is exactly the same what I have entered. And let's try with double quotes. If I said YouTube and double quotes closed, then again this will give me exactly what I have given the interpreter. And let's try for a sentence. Let's say Aditya's channel. And what do you think? Will it work? As it should work because I have enclosed it in single quotes from both the sides. Let's try. When I will press enter, it will give me an error. So why is this error occurring? So let me tell you that I have started this single quote here, and in between this chunk of words or in between this sentence, I have used this single quote, which is confusing the Python interpreter to think that this is the end of the sentence. However, this is not the end of the sentence. The end of the sentence here, but before the interpreter reaching there, it is reading this single quote, which is confusing the interpreter. So to fix that, what we can do, we can enclose this sentence in double quotes. So let's say Aditya's channel in double quotes, and when I will press enter, it will work just fine. And what if I want to use double quotes inside this sentence? Then I have to enclose the sentence in single quotes. Means let's try Aditya's channel, and I have used double quotes inside this sentence while I have enclosed this sentence in single quotes. Means it will work. But what if I enclose this in double quotes and then use double quotes inside this sentence? Then it will cause the same problem as the single quote was causing earlier, which is this, which this sentence was causing. Let's try. Let's say Aditya's and then channel, and let's press enter, and already we know this will give us an error. Now let's say I want to print two strings, or if you don't know what is a string, let me tell you, in programming we call chunk of words or a chunk of characters or words a string. So as you have seen, YouTube is a string which we have enclosed in single quotes or double quotes, and my name is a string, your name is a string, and everything which contains characters is a string. So now let's say I want to print two strings. So let's say I will say Aditya, and then I have to print channel. So I want both of these strings to get joined. So for that we will have to add an operator in between, which is the plus operator. So what this plus operator will do, it will add both of these words together in a single word. So when I will press enter, it will give me Aditya and channel. As I have not added any space in between, this is giving me Aditya without and channel without any space in between. Let's try for adding three words. Let's say Aditya and then plus, then channel, then plus, and then Aditya again. And when I will press enter, it works. It adds all these three words into a single word. Let's say I want to print Aditya three times. Then what should I do? One thing that I can do is that I can say Aditya plus Aditya plus Aditya, and this will work fine. It will print Aditya three times. But what if I want to print Aditya 10 times? It would be very tedious, as I have to write Aditya 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 10 times, which is very much time taking. So to fix this, Python has an operator for strings, which is a multiplication operator, as we have already seen for numbers. So when I will say Aditya, and then I will add this multiplication symbol, and when I will write 10 and press enter, it will give me a sentence or a string with Aditya written 10 times in it. So this is how it works. I hope that you have enjoyed this video, and if it is so, then go and like the video. And don't forget to subscribe the channel to get regular updates on this kind of interesting videos. And do comment your opinions about this video. And I will catch you next time.